And then whenever you're ready at your own pace, just allowing the breath to flow normally without forcing, without controlling. And the breath will become just like that door, crossing the threshold between the world outside and your physical home. In the same way, the breath becomes that door. So just settle in here. Stepping into your experience. Stepping in within. And from this breath of life, extending your attention to the rest of the body and just noticing how the body feels in this moment, sensing through your feet, sensing through the legs and the entire body all the way up to the crown of your head. Perhaps becoming aware of those areas where you sense more than others. Maybe there is something that's more alive for you right now. And if at any moment you notice anything that is too much for right now, or maybe you find overwhelming, you can always come back here to the breath. You can always open your eyes and look around. Shift your pose. Do whatever you need to take care of yourself. This is that checking in that we do when we come into our physical home. Noticing what's inviting to you. Attending to what you need. And if you're with me, perhaps you're just noticing the sensations that come and go in the body. the ever changing reality of our being. And whenever you notice a mind wandering, telling you stories, memories, the narrative, you can always bring your attention right back to this body, because this body is already here. And so just bringing your attention back to sensations in the body. And as you notice the body and you pay attention to all the parts of the body. Maybe there might be parts of the body where you feel more than others, where the sensations are more alive. These are pleasant sensations, maybe just noticing that. And if they're unpleasant, just noticing that too, but taking care of yourself. Attending with this kind, gentle attention. And now we're going to shift gears a little bit into your experience, into this coming home, and now noticing the thoughts that might be here in your mind, in the mind, the activity of the mind. So maybe just turning your attention towards the thinking mind without judgment. And if you notice judgment, if judgment happens as it is bound to happen, just seeing it as another thought. So just for a moment, settle in here with the thinking mind. And instead of getting carried away by the thoughts, just noticing them as if there were clouds in the sky, just passing one after another. And you always have your trusting companion, the breath, to hold you during this time. And as you observe the thinking mind, you might notice that thoughts come as images, phrases, words. Sometimes even they might move as little movie clips that play in the background. This is all the thinking mind. So just becoming aware of how is it that thoughts manifest for you. And being this gentle, non-judgmental observer of this experience. And every time you notice that the story has taken you away from this moment, returning home, just coming back again and again to being this gentle observer, this kind observer of your experience. Nothing to change, nothing to do, nothing to control. Just witnessing what is unfolding right in front of you. And as you notice the mind drifting, taking you away on a narrative, you can always come back through the breath, taking in a deeper than normal breath, crossing that door threshold, then coming back to your experience. Knowing that the door is always open for you. You're always welcome here. And now allowing the thinking mind to just go into the background, allowing the thoughts to just, if they need to linger in the background, that's okay. They can just be there. But we're going to shift our focal point of attention now to emotions. So maybe taking a breath here. And on the exhale, just tuning into any emotions or an emotion that might be present in this moment. And as you do this, becoming aware of the physical sensation of this emotion in the body. Maybe you can't really pinpoint what emotion it is, but you feel a heaviness in the heart or a lightness in the body or a sense of energy. And so just noticing what might be here. you're having a hard time noticing an emotion or emotions right now, you can always go back to the breath. You can always settle your attention here for a little bit. And then check in from time to time to see what's here for you. Listen in deeply to your experience. Noticing what is at the heart of your home right now. And whenever you're ready, at your own pace, I'll invite you to take a deeper than normal breath with me. And on a long exhale, shifting gears into bringing your attention to this breath. Maybe taking another deeper than normal breath. Long exhale. Coming back to sensing the movement of the breath in the body. This invitation to return here again and again. Return home. In the words of Julia Fehrenbaker, and I might be mispronouncing that name, but there's a poem written called The Most Important Thing. And it says, I am making a home inside myself, a shelter of kindness where everything is forgiven, everything allowed, a quiet patch of sunlight to stretch out without hurry, where all that has been banished and buried is welcomed, spoken, listened to, released. A fiercely friendly place I can claim as my very own. I am throwing arms open to the whole of myself, especially the fearful, fault-finding, falling apart, unfinished parts, knowing every seed and weed, every drop of rain has made the soil richer. I will light a candle, pour a hot cup of tea, gather around the warmth of my own blazing fire. I will howl if I want to, knowing this flame can burn through any perceived problem, any prescribed perfectionism, any line limitation, every heavy thing. I am making a home inside myself where grace blooms in grand and glorious abundance, a shelter of kindness that grows all the truest things. I whisper, hallelujah, to the friendly sky, watching now as I burst into blossom. This is from the book Staying in Love. And so, my friends, I invite you to just take a breath here with me in this coming home, finding your way. Maybe you notice that you've drifted far from home. Just know that it's always here, always waiting for you. A loving, forgiving friend. And so as you bring your attention right back to this body, settling your attention in the eye area, noticing the eyelids, if your eyes are closed, feeling in maybe the heaviness of them and how they start to become lighter and lighter as you start to open your eyes gently. Looking past the screen and letting the outside world unfold at its own pace without you looking for anything, without you making anything happen. And allowing your gaze to just settle in anything that you find nourishing. Maybe just space on the walls or art hanging. Maybe the lines where the ceiling meets the walls if you're indoors. So just settle in here, orienting your attention again to what is seen, what is in your surroundings right now at this moment. A new moment. Seen from this deep place in within called home. Experiencing life in this way. And whenever you're ready at your own pace, you can begin to come back to the screen, to look at everybody that's here. Maybe move the body a little bit, see what it needs. Stretching, shifting. So the idea with this theme of making a home within is the sense of how we often find shelter, need shelter is a necessity of us to have a place that we call home, a physical place that holds us where we are, however modest it might be, however fancy it might be. But to cultivate this sense of inner sanctuary as well, to build this homing within. It's part of our journey almost. It's part of our sense of belonging. And often I hear this thought of, I feel like I don't belong anywhere, or I'm a misfit. Well, there's a place where we can all belong, and that is within ourselves in this home. And in order to cultivate this, there's some things that we can do. And one is, of course, cultivating awareness, self-awareness, noticing our experience, noticing our thoughts, our physical sensations, our emotions. We do that through the cultivation of our practice, mindfulness, this non-judgmental observation of our experience, being aware of what's happening without any judgment. Another way could be also embracing what we consider imperfect about ourselves. And instead of that judgment, perhaps the invitation is to be curious about that, where that might come from. What does the body tell you about it? Where does this part that believes there's imperfections live? So tuning in again into the body. Another way could be to create a sense of practice, but have your practice in a certain time. Perhaps the practice comes in my experience, for me, comes in with lighting some Palo Santo, turning on chanting music sometimes, or Native American music. These are things that bring me home. The sense of being within myself. And so perhaps for you, it might be something else. It might be nature as well. It might be connection. Another way is to caring for yourself. And so to really noticing what your physical body needs. What is it that you're not attending to? What is it nudging you about? And again, turning that kind eye towards it. So one of the most powerful ways as well is to practice gratitude. To notice if there's anything that you might be grateful for, moment to moment. And this takes the mind away from the natural way of being, which is focusing on what's unpleasant or what's hard, difficult. And it gives it a little break in between by just noticing what is something that you can be grateful for. And so we're going to do that right now as we finish this practice. So maybe just take a deeper than normal breath, tune into your heart. And just notice if there's anything in this moment that you're grateful for. Becoming aware of the mind is looking for this great thing that must happen, that hasn't happened. And seeing the small things that you might be grateful for. For me in this moment, it's just being here with all of you, having you in my life. I'm grateful for that. And so just notice what comes up for you. And then just expanding this from just a thought or recognition in the mind. Where's the gratitude in your body? Sensing it, feeling it. Noticing what happens to your home when there's gratitude. And so whenever you're ready, I'll invite you again to just bring your attention to the group, noticing who's here, and noticing what happens within you when you look around. So notice your body. And I thank you for this practice, for being here today. I thank you for your kind attention. And as I always say, from everything I share, take what you need and leave what you don't. If gratitude is not something that you're resonating with right now, just leave it. It's okay. Everything takes practice. So be kind with yourself. Without judgments. There's nowhere that you need to be right now. There's nowhere that your practice needs to be right now. Whatever it is, it's what it is. So bring in a sense of acceptance.